For nearly 2000 years, this corroded lump of bronze sat at the bottom of the sea. At first, it looked like nothing more than damaged metal from an ancient shipwreck. Then someone noticed what was hidden inside: gears. Not decoration, not random fragments, precisely cut bronze gears, locked inside a device from the ancient Greek world. And the deeper researchers looked, the stranger it became. This machine could predict solar and lunar eclipses. It tracked astronomical cycles. It followed calendars. It even connected the movement of the sky to the timing of major Greek games. And it did all of this around the 1st century BC. No surviving device of comparable mechanical sophistication has been found for more than 1,000 years afterward. So the real question is not whether this machine was impossible. It existed. The question is much more interesting: how did it actually work? The story begins around the year 1900 of a small Greek island called Antikythera. A group of sponge divers sheltering from a storm discovered the wreck of an ancient cargo ship lying roughly 45 meters below the surface. Over the following months, they recovered what they could: marble sculptures, bronze statues, glassware, coins, and among those objects was a heavily corroded lump of bronze, roughly the size of a large book. At first, it attracted little attention. It did not look like a machine. It did not look like one of the most important technological artifacts ever found. But in 1902, the Greek archaeologist Valerios Stais examined one of the fragments and noticed something unusual inside the crust: the outline of a gear tooth. That single observation changed everything, because this was not just wreckage, it was the remains of a mechanical computer from the ancient world. Today we call it the Antikythera Mechanism. It survives in 82 fragments. Inside those fragments, researchers have identified more than 30 bronze gears. Not 82 gears, 82 fragments. That distinction matters because precision is the entire point of this story. The mechanism was a hand-cranked astronomical calculator. Think of it as a mechanical model of the sky. When a user turned a crank on the side, gears inside the box moved a system of pointers across engraved dials. The front face displayed the movement of the sun and moon against the Greek zodiac. Another scale tracked the Egyptian civil calendar. The back face contained spiral dials that measured longer cycles of time. One of those dials tracked the Metonic cycle, a 235-month cycle that helped align lunar months with the solar year. Another dial predicted eclipses. So this was not simply a clock, and it was not only a calendar, it was a bronze machine that translated astronomical knowledge into mechanical movement. Turn the crank, watch the pointers move, read the sky. The Eclipse Predictor was one of the most impressive parts of the device. To understand it, you need one idea: eclipses are not random, they follow patterns. One of the most important patterns is called the Saros cycle. Every 223 lunar months, roughly 18 years and 11 days, the sun, earth, and moon return to nearly the same relative alignment. Ancient Babylonian astronomers had observed this pattern centuries earlier. The Greeks inherited and developed that astronomical knowledge. But the Antikythera mechanism did something extraordinary with it. It turned that knowledge into gears. A gear train on the back of the device counted lunar months. As the crank turned, the mechanism advanced through the Saros cycle. When the cycle reached its eclipse markers, inscriptions on the dial could indicate whether an eclipse was expected and give details about its appearance. This was not mysticism, it was not prophecy, it was observed astronomical data encoded into bronze. That is what makes the mechanism so powerful. It did not just describe the sky, it calculated it. But the Antikythera mechanism did more than predict eclipses. It also organized time on Earth. One of the back dials tracked major Pan-Hellenic games, including the Olympic Games. That detail is easy to overlook, but it changes how we understand the device. The ancient Greek world was not organized only around astronomy, it was organized around festivals, competitions, religious events, and civic calendars. So the mechanism connected two kinds of time at once: cosmic time measured by the sun, moon, and cycles of eclipses, and human time measured by festivals and games. One turn of the crank updated the sky, but it also showed where people were in the rhythm of their own society. That is the moment where the device becomes more than a scientific instrument. It becomes a machine for understanding order. Order in the heavens, order in the calendar, order in the world people actually lived in. And this was all hidden inside a corroded object pulled from the sea. Now we get to the detail that makes the Antikythera mechanism feel almost impossible looking. The moon does not move around Earth at a perfectly constant speed. Its orbit is not a perfect circle. It is elliptical. That means the moon appears to move faster at some points in its orbit and slower at others. Ancient Greek astronomers understood this mathematically, but turning that mathematical idea into a machine was a completely different problem. Simple gears produce regular motion. One gear turns another. The motion is predictable and uniform, but the moon is not uniform, so the designers needed a way to make the output speed change. Their solution was what researchers call a pin and slot mechanism. In simple terms, the gear did not just turn, it turned unevenly on purpose. A small pin, placed off-center on one gear, moved inside a slot on another. As the gears rotated, that offset created a changing output, faster at one point, slower at another, a mechanical approximation of the moon's irregular motion. This is the part most videos skip too quickly, because this is not just ancient astronomy, this is mechanical engineering. The designers took a complicated motion in the sky and built a gear system that could imitate it by hand. That is what separates the Antikythera mechanism from a calendar. It was not just marking time, it was modeling motion. For most of the 20th century, researchers could only study what survived. Fragments, corroded gears, partial inscriptions, damaged plates, missing sections. The mechanism was real, but much of its original layout was hidden or destroyed. Then modern imaging changed the investigation. X-rays, three-dimensional scanning, and inscription analysis revealed details that earlier researchers could not see. In 2021, a team at University College London, led by Tony Freeth, proposed the most complete computational reconstruction of the front display to date. Their model was published in scientific reports. This does not mean every original gear has been recovered, and it does not mean every part of the device is proven with absolute certainty. The planetary sections in particular are reconstructed from surviving evidence, but the 2021 model gave researchers the clearest picture yet of how the front panel may have worked. It suggested a compact display capable of showing the Sun, the Moon, and the 5 planets known to the ancient Greeks: Saturn, Jupiter, Mars, Venus, Mercury, a small bronze universe controlled by a hand crank. That is the payoff. The Antikythera mechanism was not just strange because it was old, it was strange because the more we understand it, the more sophisticated it becomes. And that leads to the biggest question. If engineers in the ancient Greek world could build something like this, why do we not find anything comparable for so long afterwards? The answer is probably not a conspiracy. It is more practical. Bronze was valuable. In the ancient world, bronze objects that broke, became obsolete, or were no longer useful were often melted down and recast. The material mattered. A broken mechanism was not just a broken machine, it was metal. And metal could become tools, weapons, coins, fittings, statues, or another object entirely. That may explain why so little ancient mechanical technology survives. If similar devices existed, most would not have been preserved in museums, they would have been recycled. The Antikythera mechanism survived because it sank. It went down with a cargo ship and remained on the seafloor for roughly 2,000 years, beyond recovery, beyond reuse, beyond recycling. In a strange way, the shipwreck protected it. The sea destroyed much of the object, but it also saved it from disappearing completely. This is not a story about forbidden knowledge. It is a story about how fragile precise things are. Some questions remain open. The inscriptions on the back of the mechanism include month names associated with the Corinthian dialect. That suggests a connection to Corinth or to one of its colonies, possibly including Syracuse in Sicily. But it does not prove exactly where the device was made. We do not know who designed it. We do not know whether it was the work of one exceptional instrument maker or part of a broader tradition of similar machines. We do not know whether it was used for teaching, demonstration, prestige, travel, or something else entirely. And we should be careful with certainty. The strongest version of this story does not need exaggeration. The evidence is already extraordinary. A real object survived, real gears were found, real inscriptions were read, real astronomical cycles were encoded into a machine, and modern researchers are still learning from it. The mystery is not whether ancient people had magic. They did not need magic. They had mathematics, they had observation, they had metal working, and they had engineers capable of turning the sky into machinery. The Antikythera mechanism matters because it changes what we expect from ancient engineering. Not through legends, not through speculation, but through physical evidence. In the 1st century BC, someone built a hand-cranked bronze machine that predicted eclipses, tracked astronomical cycles, followed civic calendars, and modeled the motion of the moon. It was not impossible, it was engineered. And the only reason we can study it today is because it was lost in exactly the right place, at the bottom of the sea. This is what ancient engineering explained is about. Not aliens, not conspiracies, not fake lost technology, the physical evidence of what ancient people actually built and how they built it. If you want more ancient engineering explained with evidence, diagrams, archaeology, and real sources, subscribe. Next, we will look at how Roman aqueducts supplied a city of 1 million people with clean water without a single pump.